Welcome to the Burrillville School Committee meeting on January 14th, 2005, at the Burrillville Media Center, 425 East Avenue, Harrisville, Rhode Island. This is our first meeting of 2025, so we're off to a good start here. Let's go. We're going to do roll call, but we have a couple of members not here yet, but we're going to start without them. They're on their way. Sean Boson has been excused. He has an excused absence, so he will not be at the meeting at all. Please join me in having the Pledge of Allegiance, doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to have a motion to move into executive session under Rhode Island General Assembly, General Law 42-46-5 and 42-46-5, personnel and collective bargaining.
Need a motion to that
I'll make a
effect?
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I'll poll the school committee to move into executive session. Sylvia? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Jill?
Aye.
Victor?
Aye.
Coniston? Aye. Okay, so moved. Okay, welcome back to our January 14th school committee meeting. I'd like to request a motion to reconvene in open session.
So moved?
I'll make a motion.
What?
We have a motion looking
Donna
for a
second.
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 Did you second, Jill?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'm going to report that there were no votes taken during this meeting, and I'm going to request a motion to seal the minutes.
I make a motion, seal the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Item agenda number 4, recognition.
We have none tonight.
None tonight, okay. Item agenda number 5, consent agenda, approval of minutes.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 10th School Committee Budget Workshop, also the December 10th Executive Session, and the December 10th regular meeting.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on, warrants and invoices.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the December 2024 warrant number 6, dated January 14th, 2025, grand total expenditures of $3,177,010.03.
Second.
Second by Jill, all in favor?
Aye.
And at this time, we have no bids. So moving on to agenda item number 6, presentation by the public to the school committee. Do we have any
We have none
at
scheduled
this
tonight.
time? None scheduled. Okay. Item agenda number 8, personnel, leave of absences, retirements, resignations, and appointments.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the leave of absence for Caitlin Bartolome, Guidance Secretary, Burrillville Middle School, effective January 1st, 2025 through June 17th of 2025. Also Holly Wright, Teacher Assistant, Burrillville High School, effective January 2nd, 2025 through May 2nd, 2025. Also Talia Lynch, APE Health Technology Teacher, AT Levy, WL Callahan, on or before June 5th, 2025 through June 17th, 2025.
Second.
And actually, let me amend that to add Lauren Fernandez, Teacher Assistant, Burrillville Middle School, effective January 8th, 2025 through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Second by Jill, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, I'll also make a motion to approve the resignation of Sarah Pine, grade 7 math teacher, Burrillville Middle School, effective January 21st, 2025.
Second.
Seconded by Jill, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to receive and file the subsequent appointments.
Second.
Second by Jill, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to old business. FY '25 BS Burrillville School District Budget Update and Transfer Approval.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to receive and file and approve also the transfers as recommended.
Second.
Second by Jill, all in favor?
Aye.
And fiscal year '25 rink budget update.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Did I hear a second?
Yep.
Second by Jill, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And this brings us to item agenda number 10, the superintendent's report. And I will turn it over to Dr. Slato at this time.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of items on my report today. I want to start with a budget update for FY '25. So as you know, it's been a challenging budget year this current year, and I wanted to publicly explain some of the challenges that we have and what we have planned to address those challenges for the remainder of the fiscal year. So, as you know, we continue to evaluate and manage the fiscal challenges within the school department budget on a really a daily basis. And there are some significant issues that are causing some financial hardships. One of those issues is the transportation costs, the rising transportation costs for students that are either out of district or are experiencing homelessness. and students that are currently residing at the Zambarano shelter as well. So we've really encountered an excessive cost of transporting students who are housed at Zambarano. The increase in the number of students requiring transportation to and from school has placed an unanticipated strain on our transportation budget, and that really has been exacerbated by the distance that they must be transported to access their districts of origin for educational stability. So students that are homeless by federal law, we have to provide transportation, and typically they go to the district where they began their education. So if a student, for example, is in any town, we'll say North Providence, students in North Providence, and they're living at the Zambarano shelter because they're dealing with obviously the struggles of being homeless. We split the bill of the transportation with North Providence, and we have to transport them to North Providence schools. So that is done to really try to remain, try to keep some level of stability for students so that if they're experiencing homelessness, they're not bouncing from 10 different districts in 10 different years and those kind of things. The problem is the transportation costs are outrageous, and they continue to climb.
Can I ask how many students are at Zambarano that are transported?
We have 7 right now, 8. I think we just added another one, so I think it's up to 8. We added 2? So yeah, it's somewhere between 7 and 9.
That we
And they go
transport.
to different places,
They go to different districts, correct?
each one of them?
Correct. Some may be going to the same district, but yes.
You're not in the same family.
Oh, I get it.
So yeah, that's been an issue. In some cases, we also have students that are living in Zambarano or attending our schools, Burrillville schools. Many times, as you know, students that have experienced long-term homelessness are presenting with significant academic, social, and emotional needs. But really, the main cost of students residing at the Zambarano shelter is transportation. In addition to that, another item of concern is the rising costs associated with out-of-district placements for students with special needs. So students who require services that we're currently unable to provide, we obviously place them in a facility that can meet their educational, social, emotional needs. And the demand for those services has really increased exponentially over the last few years. I think a big cause of that is the impact of the isolation caused by the pandemic. But really, across the board, not just here in Burrillville, but statewide and nationally, you've seen an increase in student need. And those placements, of course, are necessary to meet the needs of those students, but they're often at much higher costs than our in-district services. So we've got transportation costs that are spiraling, particularly with homeless students, our out-of-district placement for special needs, and then finally, the increased Rhode Island state pension rates. And I mentioned this several times before, but as you know, the state of Rhode Island pension contribution rate increased, I want to say in June of last year, but it was after our budgets were already approved, and that was an unbudgeted item. We knew it had to be addressed at some point, and we're at that point now. So collectively, these issues represent substantial unanticipated financial pressures. They have to be addressed to maintain our sustainability of services and to meet our fiscal obligations. Luckily, we have a plan in place, really utilizing some of our undesignated funds to cover those costs, and then we'll have to figure out how to address it best for FY26. But I wanted to kind of detail what some of those plans are over the next few months as we head towards the end of the fiscal year in June. So we have an existing transportation fund as part of our undesignated fund. We're planning on using about $160,000 of that to cover an overage. That will leave the balance of that transportation fund at approximately $40,000. We also have an out-of-district tuition fund as part of our undesignated funds. We have $200,000 in that restricted account. We plan on using about $78,000. That will leave the balance of that account at $122,000. And then use our existing undesignated fund balance to support the pension rate, which is approximately $148,000. Our undesignated fund balance is about $268,000, and that would leave us about $121,000 in our undesignated funds. So luckily, we have undesignated funds available to cover these. but I did want to mention it publicly because our undesignated funds certainly are limited, and as we head towards another challenging and difficult fiscal year, we've got to keep those things in mind. We certainly don't want to run a deficit and don't want to come in danger of running a deficit, and that's what our undesignated funds are for these kind of emergencies, but we have to make sure as we plan for the future that we're not counting on tapping into those undesignated funds, because they're limited, and obviously they'll be running out shortly. So also wanted to give a shout out to Robin for her work on this. This is, as you know, what she works on pretty much every minute of the day to make sure that we don't run a deficit, so thank you, Robin, for that.
Yes, we're very grateful.
Like, I just had a
for you.
question. Did you say it was $140,000 increase in the pension? That we,
Estimate is 148,000.
148,000?
Yep.
Increase in the pension that we didn't
Pension rate,
expect?
correct.
Okay.
So between the pension, the out-of-district tuition, and the transportation budget overage, we're anticipating about $378,000 that we'll be using from our undesignated funds.
So this year we have it in undesignated funds, but the upcoming year?
So we're not using all of it, so we will have a balance.
Yeah,
For
but,
next year.
but,
Right.
but we have it to cover these
We have it
unexpected.
right now.
Now, the town council was kind of getting involved in the transportation piece, right? Like helping us kind of figure that out.
I think there's been some members of the town council that have been vocal about their views on the
Okay,
transportation piece.
but no, like actual,
We are getting a grant from the state that we applied for $75,000 that will help. We
Yeah.
had a grant in that same amount last year,
yeah.
but the cost of the transportation far outweighs the 75,000.
Yeah.
It's on average somewhere, I mean, it's difficult to give an exact number because it goes up and down every month, and it's based on the number of students that are on the actual bus
Right.
that's transporting those kids, and it's split among all the districts who have kids on that bus. So the numbers aren't the same every day. So if there's 10 kids on a bus from 10 different districts, you pay 1/10 of the cost of that bus for the day. So on average, I would say our monthly cost of transporting those students that were placed by the state at Zamorano is somewhere in the neighborhood of between $25,000 to $28,000 a month, so somewhere around there.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Does the state of Rhode Island or the RIDE, do they give us like a ceiling as far as how long these kids can be transported?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So they could actually go to school, like first grade, be considered homeless, living with their grandmother, and be able to come back to Burrillville for 12.
As long as they're in a non-permanent residence, so if they're doubled up with someone, if they're living in a hotel, if they're living with family members, it's not permanent by federal law that they have the right to attend their district of origin. So that's a federal protection.
Now, that can be compounded. As people become homeless in one particular district, the numbers rise, and the number of transportation rises. So we're in a no-win situation. We all are.
No, we're bound, like, obviously you can't hold kids accountable for, for adult decisions. So you want to make sure that the student is in the most stable educational setting for them. So I think that's what the philosophy behind that law is. But in reality, there's, there are students that are homeless by the federal definition of the word that may be attending our school or other schools for multiple years, 3-4 years in a row. If they're living with, as you said, they're living with a grandparent, and they were, evicted from their residence 4 years ago and they're doubled up with another parent, they're still considered by federal definition, according to the McKinney-Vento Act, they're still considered homeless, so we still have to provide transportation. And we split that cost with the other district. So we're not providing 100% of that cost, but even just our cost is astronomical. No easy answer for it, and other districts are facing the same thing. But there is some talk at the Department of Education to try to look at combining routes and getting the ridership up on buses so the cost is shared by more people. So they're in the middle of doing a route study with all of the statewide runs so that hopefully the cost will come down.
That's what I was just gonna ask. Are they looking at possibly consolidating a couple of schools to, let's just say we have kids that have to go to Providence. So we technically have to drive through North Smithfield to get to 146, like,
They
you know
do
what I mean?
th-
Are they
do
looking at
that,
things
yes.
like that?
So
Yeah.
so when you have a student like that, we arrange transportation through statewide.
Right.
Statewide transportation handles it, and they make multiple stops. So they're not just picking our kids up and going right to one school.
Right.
They're making multiple stops across the,
Yeah, I forgot it was a
across the route.
statewide, I'm thinking it was
But
down.
then we split the cost of that bus. So if there's 6 kids on the bus, then you're paying for 1/6. If one of them is from Burrillville, we're paying for 1/6 of that
Okay.
bus. We also had a meeting with our DATCO folks last week, or the week before, and we asked them to investigate if they could provide the same service as the statewide transportation at a lesser cost. So they haven't gotten back to us yet, but if they're able to do that, then we can access our own buses to provide district transportation. Maybe not for all of our students, but if it happens for some, and it's a cost savings, then we'll do that. So we're trying everything we can, looking at every option we can to try to get that cost down.
And we haven't heard from the state at all about any type of reimbursement. I know we had sent
Just-
a letter.
The response was just the grant that we have for $75,000.
I am very glad that that is in place for the students and families experiencing homelessness. I want to be very clear about that. I don't think it's like I think it's wonderful that those students are protected and those families, because you're right, the kids, it's not their decisions, it's just, it's unfortunate that it's so costly. But, I mean, I am glad that.
Somewhere it's
plan
gonna
is in
stop,
place.
because it's not going to get any better.
Yeah,
You know,
but,
I mean, 4 years is a long time to be transporting a person to another community, even though it's Rhode Island and we're close to different communities, it's still costing us money to do that.
but I think keeping the kids in this district that they, are comfortable in for 4 years is also really important as well.
It can be more than 4 years, too.
Well,
It could
whatever,
be, but I
yeah.
think the goal of that obviously would be to, if someone gets back on their feet and they're planning on returning to their district of origin, that's ultimately the goal, so.
Right.
In example, we have, in the past, we've had students that lived here in Burrillville. They had some financial hardships. They moved to another district where they were staying with a family member. We transported them, to school here for a few years. But the ultimate goal was for those parents to find a home in Burrillville. So that's how the way it should work. A lot of times it doesn't. I mean, obviously, the housing market is a problem, and homelessness, as we know, has been an issue statewide now for a while, and it's becoming more and more political and more public in the last couple of weeks. So on a brighter note, next item on my report, on the agenda today under new business, I think it's under new business, we have an MOU with Hazel Health. So our legal counsel, Attorney Scunzio, has developed a memorandum of understanding with Hazel Health to provide mental health services by certified mental health professionals that will be available for our schools to offer parents at no cost.
Love that.
Yeah, so it's a win-win. Still some details we're working out. The copy that you have in front of you, the MOU is, it's kind of a boilerplate.
Did we
That
get
is,
I don't-
I think I sent it out.
The weekly.
Yeah, I think I sent it out with the weekly update.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have the one that's been Burrillvilleized yet. The template that we used is from another district, but the language will be the same.
Yeah.
In short, we're hoping to use those services outside of school hours. We would never pull a student from instructional time, from the classroom, to receive any services, but we want to make sure that they have availability outside of school, whether it's after school in the building or at home with the parent.
So is it face-to-face, or is it?
Virtual.
Virtual, it's all
It's
virtual.
all virtual. All of the mental health professionals are licensed in Rhode Island. The company, the Hazel Health Company, has a statewide contract, and each district has their own MOU, but it's a statewide contract through the Department of Ed that is provided, services are provided to all school districts for the remainder of this year and next year for free. So it's a great opportunity, but we can at least offer those services to parents if they want to take advantage
We
of
don't
that.
have like an amount we could do. Say if we have 10 kids, or we have 20
There's
kids.
no limit.
Doesn't make a difference.
That's
There's
amazing.
no limit. One thing that they did request was they requested access to all of our student data so they could kind of create their own roles. I'm not comfortable with that, so I'm not providing any data to, we're not gonna agree to provide any data to Hazel Health unless a student and a parent sign up to take part in the service. Some districts have decided to give them access to kind of the student, student list and student information, so if a student does need it, they can get services right away. It may be a little more of a delay here, but I'm not comfortable with sharing personal information with the company unless the parent requests it.
And that goes through superintendent's office or the school's office?
We'll have a contact at each school, most likely the principal, at each school that will set that up, and they're just gonna act as really like a liaison to connect the parent with the Hazel Health team. And once they're forwarded the information, then parent has to sign a few things, and again, it's at no cost. If the parent and the family has health coverage, then their health coverage will cover it. If they don't have health coverage, it's no charge.
That's good.
Yeah, so we're hoping, once the MOU gets approved, we're hoping to roll this out in our schools in the next couple of weeks, and maybe by February, we could begin offering that service for parents who may want to take advantage of it.
So that's all kids in school?
Yes, yep. Okay, and my last item for my superintendent's report is I'm requesting that the committee agree to create a standing agenda item for our student representative here on the school committee, so that he has some time of his own to give a little report after the superintendent's report.
Love that.
Each month. Ben Pena is here. Hey, Ben? Is here with us today. He does have a report for today, so I want to introduce him and give him a few minutes to talk about that. He has a report out from the school improvement team here at the high school. He can either do that now as part of his student report, or we can do that later under subcommittees. Madam Chair, it's up to you.
So we're gonna add another agenda item? Yeah, do we have to vote on that? Is that a vote or?
I don't think we need a vote on that. It's just, as the chair, you have the authority to add an agenda item.
Well, we're gonna add that agenda item, and we can add it, I suggest we add it, under the reports of the school committee subcommittees, so it kind of falls in.
Sure.
Is that okay, or do you wanna go before us? It's up to you.
I can go with the subcommittees under it.
Okay, so we'll add that, that'll be agenda item number 13.
And push everything down one.
And then we'll go from there.
All right, and that concludes my report.
Okay, so moving on to the agenda item number 11, administrators report. It's been deferred to our February meeting. Agenda item number 12, reports of school committee subcommittees. And who wants to begin?
Ben, go first.
Okay.
Ben, do you want to start that?
Yep.
Sure. So I've been attending the Burrillville High School SIT meetings, as well as Principal Advisory Committee in school.
Oh, there you go. You can just talk.
Okay. So I've been attending the SIT meetings as well as Principal Advisory Committees every Wednesday in the school. And my first SIT committee was December 11th. And to start off, I talked to administration about how they feel currently with the school, and administration at VHS is proudly acknowledging the outstanding work being done within Burrillville High School. Teachers consistently are going above and beyond to provide students with an outstanding educational experience. At the Principal Advisory Committee, I brought up that I feel teachers need more recognition for their great work. So, I presented at the SIT meeting, I presented that we should implement a teacher of the month system, similar with the middle school as well as elementary school.
Great idea.
So students can vote via Google form, and at the end of each month and the following month, the teacher will be recognized in the morning announcements, and the teacher will be awarded with a certificate. And students will also have an option on the Google form to have a little blurb of why they think the teacher deserves Teacher of the Month, and that little blurb, the most upvoted one, I guess, will be put on the announcements, so the teacher's name and why they deserve Teacher of the Month. And after tomorrow, which is the next SIT meeting, which I unfortunately can't attend due to an orthodontist appointment, but after that meeting, they will make a motion to start that by next month, the end of this month.
That's great.
The forms will be pushed out through the morning announcements as well as an email to advisories, student advisories. The last thing I have is at the SIT meeting, we discussed service hours with Mr. Goodwin, and we reviewed examples from other districts. For instance, Westerly requires their students to consult with their dean or principal about service choices to ensure they meet guidelines, such as excluding work for private communities, companies, or personal tasks like helping family, which we want to include, but that's just Westerly's thing. Their motto is, if someone gets paid to do it, it doesn't count as community service. And another example we looked at is Putnam incorporating citizenship into their graduate curriculum through internships, town events, and environmental projects. So locally, we discussed refining our rubric to emphasize meaningful civic engagement, similar to Putnam, encouraging advisors or student guidance counselors to guide students on appropriate community service. So we're gonna try to incorporate consulting your dean or like the principal, but we think that your guidance counselors, you should consult about your community service choices. And to fit with Putnam, Mr. Goodman would like to adjust the graduate rubric. So, yeah, and division of the graduate rubric, sorry, with community service hours for kids to add better reflections for community service in their digital portfolio as well, so their entries can highlight the impact of their experience rather than a straightforward summary. That's all I have.
Good job.
Great
job,
job.
Ben. Great
Yeah,
job.
Thank you.
I like that initiative about the Teacher of the Month. They do that at the middle school, and you always see it on Facebook.
Yeah.
They announce it. Did you say that students were gonna pick the?
Yes.
Yeah, the student, okay, yeah, that's a great idea, I like that. I think all teachers should be recognized,
Absolutely.
so. Good job, Ben.
Thank you.
And thank you. Okay, reports of subcommittees?
I have nothing to report for Steer Farm as of this time.
I don't either have anything. I know there is a middle school sit meeting coming up. I just have to find the date.
There also is one at Steer.
Okay, anybody else?
BEC met Tuesday, and I don't have minutes yet from that, but I'll pass those along
Okay.
when I do.
All right, well, I attended the school improvement team meeting at the Austin T. Levy, which was held on January 7th. There was some discussion to look into a chain link fence that has a gate on it. So, for egress reasons, the teachers feel that they're kind of like trapped in that area, and God forbid if there's ever an emergency or anything, they have no escape to get out of that area. And I believe that's a safety issue myself, too. I strongly believe that's a safety issue. So they're looking into having someone come out and give them an estimated cost, and hopefully they can receive grant money for this, or they can get donations for the project, but I'd like to see this happen, because safety is obviously our number one concern with all our schools, and if, God forbid, there's ever an emergency and the teachers are trapped in that area with the kids, and I think something as simple as a gate for them to be able to get out is not asking a lot. So Monica is working hard to,
Can I just clarify, there is a gate. They have brought up in the past, they wanted another gate.
Another gate, okay.
That it opens up to a swamp, and that's not really a safe thing.
right,
So what we're looking at is, being safe and updating the fence area.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been looked at in a very long time, and some of it just needs to be worked on, and we have a contact who is in that business, just to see what it would take to
Yeah.
update our fence.
so hopefully we can either get grant money to pay for that, or donations, or something like that. So Monica's working on it, and I know she's not gonna let us down. Oh, so at last month's meeting, and I forgot to mention this, but I'm gonna mention it now, they talked about revamping the playground, and I don't remember who it was, had mentioned that, the town does a lot of, improvements on the town playgrounds. So who, to me, what better place to revamp a playground than at the Austin T. Levy School where the kids are actually gonna use it? So maybe, we can work with the town council, maybe the liaison to the town council can can speak with one of our town council members and possibly get some funding to revamp the playground where it's actually gonna get some use. And I'm not saying the other playgrounds don't get use, I'm not saying that. But, maybe that's something where they could look into, helping out with that. But Dave Landry, the liaison to the town council, committee, maybe that's something that can be discussed and looked into. I mean, it only makes sense, right?
I think we could start by seeing what exactly we need
Well-
to revamp that. I mean, we could have to discuss it now. We could talk
Right.
about what we need and then,
Down, that's
yeah.
the issue.
Yeah.
We have worked with BEC, I know Steer Farms work with BEC, so that might be another avenue.
Well, there's been some transition, obviously, with the movement of the pre-K center to here at the high school. There's been some movement there. So
Yeah.
we'll take a look at those playgrounds and see how we can revamp it for next
Yeah.
year. Either for
I mean,
later
to
this
me,
year
it
or for
only
next
makes
year.
sense. Where do you use, who uses playgrounds more? The school kids, but anyway. Let's see. So they started their Get Food Smart Recycling Initiative, and they are looking to purchase a refrigerator or hopefully get one donated, to accommodate the food that they recycle in, that needs refrigeration. So hopefully we can get one donated. And if anyone out there that knows anyone that has a refrigerator that they are looking to get rid of, call Monica. Celebration of Kindness Week begins February 10th and goes to February 14th. They'll have the school decorated. All the teachers are decorating their doors, and they're really cute if you ever get a chance to go in and look at them. And the last thing that we discussed was, they've come up with a plan to change the date of their open house. Instead of having it right at the beginning of school, they want to move it to a couple of weeks into the school year. And the teachers stated that that's because they want to get to know the kids first and get to know the kids, just get to know the kids first, and then when they meet the parents, they have more of an idea of the kids. And so I thought that was a good idea too. They're not meeting the parents and the kids all at once and not knowing either of them, so that's a good idea. So that's it. That's it on that one. Burrillville Prevention and Action Coalition. I attended the meeting that was held January 8th. The girls' hockey team held a pledge, signed the pledge event, and this was in honor of the MD16 Foundation. Sylvia, Jill, and Victor attended. I had sent a letter to all the school committee members, but unfortunately, I'm sorry, it was last minute. But it was wonderful. It was a wonderful event. You walked in, you signed the pledge. All the girls from both teams signed the pledge, and the pledge was basically stating that they will not drink and drive, or be impaired in any way and drive, or get into a car with somebody who's impaired and cannot drive. All the kids gladly signed this. Mr. and Mrs. Dennison came and spoke to all the girls, and when I tell you, you could have heard a pin drop in that rink. You could have heard a pin drop in that rink. It was a very touching moment for me, watching those girls do that. And I have pictures if anybody wants to see them. It was really, really nice. Mr. Dennison spoke to our girls, and I don't know what he said, and I kind of, at first I thought, geez, I wish I could have heard him, but then I thought, he's not there to talk to us. He was there to talk to the girls, and that's just what he did. He just sat there and spoke to the girls, and those girls were so attentive and so moved by Mr. Dennison, so, and I think I told you all about Mr. Dennison at the last meeting, so him and his wife attended, and it was a really, really great event. After the meeting, I just want to make this, after the meeting, the boys had gone up to Monica Blanchett, who is head of BPAC, and wanted to know why they weren't included in that. And Monica gave them the reason why, which Monica wants to say, she can say, but she gave them the reason why she didn't include them. She said to them, if you want us to do something similar, you come to me and you make the initiative to come to me and request it. And she said, I'm gonna leave this petition here with you, and you decide whether you wanna sign it or not. And the boys came back to her and said, we wanna do it. We wanna hold an event. So there's gonna be, at the boys hockey game, there's going to be a,
This Saturday, right?
is it this Saturday?
I think it might be.
Is it Saturday the 18th?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I saw that.
Okay, so they're gonna have kind of the same thing where they're gonna sign it. BPAC, if you sign the petition as you walk through the door, you get free admission, BPAC pays for you. So it was really something to see, and I just love that they're doing that. And I thank the Dennisons for coming out and speaking to our girls, and hopefully, I think they're coming out for the boys again. I
think
can't
so.
confirm that, but, so that's great that the boys boys hockey team took that initiative to do that. So they also, a couple of members of the team showed up to the meeting and were very involved. They came up with different ideas to do fundraisers for the MD-16 Foundation. So I thought that was nice. So, anyway. The mock crash and the pre-prom dinner is in full swing. They planned the mock crash and the pre-prom dinner the same week, and they're gonna call it a prevention week. So, that's in full swing, and they got some great ideas for the boys as far as what they can do for that too. So, anyway, all in all, it was a good meeting for BPAC, and I'm very proud of our students for taking that initiative and signing that pledge. And Monica takes that pledge very, very seriously, and she does not want anybody signing that pledge to sully the name of the Dennisons or Matt Dennison. So she takes that pledge very seriously, and she conveyed that to all the kids, that if you sign that pledge, it's being signed for a reason. So, thank you, Monica, for that. And that's all I have.
Super proud of both teams for that.
Well,
Super proud of both teams for that.
very
Maybe next year we could even get it, so it's like all the athletes in the town, in
Yeah.
the town could kinda
yeah.
come together for something and sign that.
The boys came up with a couple of good ideas too, maybe having, they want to do fundraisers now for the MD-16 Foundation, and they thought of coming up with a skate night where they teach the kids how to skate.
So cute.
That's a great idea. So anyway, more to come with that, as I
And
learn
it is this
more.
Saturday, I just confirmed that.
It
That's
is
for the
this
boys,
Saturday.
this
Okay, so
Saturday.
January 18th, did you have a time?
The game is at 8 PM, and I think it was like a half hour before, right? Last time
Yeah.
that they did so
Yeah.
probably like
Yeah.
7:30.
And what was nice was the other team, they were playing that night, and South County
South County, yeah.
signed the petition as well. So it was a fun night all in all, and it was a good
It
hockey
was.
game.
It was just cold in the rink.
And it was just cold in the rink. So anyway. So does anybody else have anything? Subcommittee, no? Okay, I'm sorry I took up so much time, I had a lot to report. Okay, that was, moving on to agenda item number 13, correspondence and communications. We have none. Agenda item number 14, new business. Okay. I'll take a motion to, do I have to,
Make a
to
motion to
open?
accept the homeschool appointment.
No, okay. A motion to accept the homeschool applications?
Second.
Who made the
Dave-
first
Dave-
motion?
Sylvia with the
Sylvia
motion,
and
Dave
Dave.
with the second.
Sylvia made the motion, Dave seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Policy 3421, artificial intelligence policy, first reading. Motion to accept the first reading?
I'll make a motion to accept the first reading.
I'll second it.
Jill, Jill made the motion, Sylvia second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion about that, anything? No? Okay. Policy 4219, internal controls for the management of grants, first revised reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading.
Second that?
Okay. Jill made the motion, Sylvia second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Okay. Policy 4220, Title I funding, methodology, first reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the Title I funding methodology.
And I'll second it.
Did you get that?
Okay, Jill made the motion, I'm sorry, Sylvia made the motion, Jill second, all in favor?
Opposite,
That's
sorry.
the other way.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Your voices sound the same. Did you get that?
Yes, I got the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discussion and vote on the MOU with Hazel Health. Dr.
motion to
Slito.
open.
Okay, motion to open,
Second?
and I'll turn it over to Dr. Slito. Anything you want to add to what you had already discussed?
No, just, again, to kind of summarize the MOU with Hazel Health, it's a free service offered to parents through the Department of Education, certified mental health professionals that are available virtually. They're all certified again in Rhode Island, and it's no cost to the parent, no cost to the families, no cost to the district. It is through the Department of Education that's offering this service for the remainder of this year and all of next year. We're only going to be offering it as an opportunity outside of school hours, so either after school or at-home services, and obviously it's voluntary if parents want to participate in that. Some of the feedback that we've received from our school psychologists and social workers is that there's such a need for counseling services that parents often have to wait for months to get in. So this was really brought to all of the school districts across the state to try to provide some opportunities for parents that are interested. I do want to note we're not sharing any information with Hazel Health unless the parent signs up for it, and if they do, then that'll just obviously be the basic information for the demographic information for the student, and then the parent has to fill out some paperwork. And again, it's no charge if the parent does not have health insurance. If they do have health insurance, I don't believe there's a copay or anything, but the Hazel Health may charge the insurance company.
So how will this go out to families? And has it gone out at all yet? No,
No.
obviously not.
Nope.
So,
We still have to, once this gets approved, if this gets approved by the committee, I have a contact at Hazel Health I'll be working with, and then we'll roll it out to the building principals, have a meeting with our building principals, and then that'll kind of trickle down to our support staff, guidance counselors, school, social workers, and psychologists, and then any student that has a need. Once we have that process kind of in place, then we'll create a protocol so that students that may have a need, there'll be a referral process, and then they'll have a school, someone at the school will really act as a liaison between the parent and Hazel Health until it's up and running. Once it's up and running, it's the parent responsibility to kind of manage that, once that relationship is made.
I think it's a wonderful relief
I do too, and
to help out schools and as far as responsibilities and our students too. Excellent.
I had just a question regarding the costs associated with this. If this is going to be an ongoing effort, would there be an expectation that the district would be picking up the tab at the end of this trial period, or?
No.
is it-
No, so my understanding is that for the remainder of this year and all of next school year, it's provided at no charge through the Department of Ed, and then they'll reassess it based on participation rates to see if it's something they can continue offering. I don't know how it's funded at the state level.
Gotcha. And you alleviated my other concern regarding data, because they do make mention of, utilizing subcontractors in some cases, and it is at the district level that we can make those, I guess,
Correct, yep.
assertions that we prefer they don't.
Yes, yeah.
Subcontract.
So they have two options as far as data sharing. You can pretty much provide access to your student information system to Hazel Health. We're not going to do that. It'll be really on a case-by-case basis. So if a parent chooses to do that, then we'll release that information once the parent agrees and signs off on it.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we're going to vote to accept the offer, I guess you would call it, from,
You do need a motion. Right now, you had a motion to open, but not a motion to approve yet.
okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the Hazel Health.
We're making a motion to approve it without the memorandum of understanding?
It's what I sent you on Friday in the weekly update. It's just the only difference is they have to, wherever the other district that was mentioned, they're gonna pull that name out and put Burrillville in.
Oh,
If you wanna push it back to February, you can, to the February meeting, but
So that will be ours.
yes, yep. It'll be the same exact language. It'll just be Burrillville will replace the other district name.
I'll second that.
Okay, Jill made the motion, and Sylvia seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, consider and vote on superintendent's recommendation to discipline a certified employee.
Make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation?
I will second that.
Dave made the motion, Jill seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
No. Okay, next on the agenda is discussion of vote of creation of space needs subcommittee.
Make a motion to open?
Second.
Is that for Ben's spot?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Motion in a second. You have to vote first to open it.
Vote
Who seconded?
Sylvia voted.
Jill
Second.
seconded the motion.
Sylvia did.
Sylvia, I'm sorry, Sylvia. I can't hear that.
So all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thanks. I've been having some of these discussions historically about more creative ways to try and fix some of our budget concerns moving forward, and this is not a quick fix by any means, and there may not be a fix. It's certainly uncertain as to whether this would yield any meaningful results in terms of money, but looking at consolidation, perhaps, of schools, the population that we have right now, in my opinion, could fit into smaller space than we are utilizing. So maybe it's an opportunity for us to set up a subcommittee to kind of look at this, and there might be hopefully an outcome that results in some savings potentially down the road. I don't know what it looks like. I would be more than willing to listen to anyone who has thoughts on it, and I think the nature of the committee would be made up of someone from the town council, Bill Robinson, superintendent, building principals. I think everybody would have some comments as to what they feel would be the best for us moving forward. We don't want to be cutting into education, and that's where we're finding ourselves right now with the budget, is, cutting teachers and staff, and it doesn't look to me like that's something that's going to be fixed in the near future. So my suggestion is that we do set up a subcommittee that would just analyze where we are. No expectation one way or the other what the outcome would be, but find out, is there a way to save money in other ways that are a little bit perhaps bolder than what we're doing now. So that's my thought. I'm welcome to any other comments and concerns or questions or considerations, but I put it on the agenda at least to have that discussion, at least just, to start somewhere.
I personally think it's a great idea that we form some kind of committee. I think with our declining enrollment and our aging schools, we're spending a lot of money fixing older schools, and I think it's just open the door and let's start discussing what our options are. And, form a committee. I agree with Donison. I think, town council members. I also think we should get maybe some community members, and just start the talk. Just start the talk, and then look at what options. Everybody can, have some say in what options they think is best, and does anybody have any objection to forming a committee, a subcommittee,
No.
to look
No.
into this?
I would like to be on it, though.
Okay.
I think Sean also expressed that he would like to be on it.
What, Joe?
Sean expressed that he would also like to be on it.
Sean Donison had expressed that he would like to be on it as well. I'm sure that we could ask a couple of members of the town council to sit in on it, and, again, Bill Robinson, maybe Robin as our financial wizard. Of course, Superintendent Salito, Dr. Salito. So,
Yeah.
is there anybody else that want to discuss this, ask any questions about it, or give some input at
I
this time, or
think-
should we wait until?
I think it's a great idea. I think it would almost need, not that other subcommittees have like a result statement or a missions, like a little more fine-tuned, like what is it? What type of subcommittee is it? Instead of getting a lot of people together to talk about, like, what are you even talking about? Are we talking about increasing efficiencies in buildings that we already have? Are we talking about consolidating, building one big school? Are we talking about just getting creative and looking at different efficiencies that we haven't looked at, So I think it's such a huge, broad thing to call in all these people to talk about, the universe. I think maybe narrowing down the topic of the subcommittee, like what is the result statement of creating this subcommittee, would be beneficial just for clarity. I think it's such a huge thing, but such an awesome thing. There's efficiencies everywhere you look, but there's also efficiencies where you're not looking. So I think that's the genius of getting these people together in our town. So I love the idea. I'm all for creating this, but I would think like,
Starting a little smaller.
yeah, or like
Yeah,
what's,
yeah,
what is
yep.
like a few of the topics we're looking at, because I'd have to imagine, throwing around just the inefficiencies of how many, antiquated buildings we have, like, are we talking about a subcommittee of making, three schools in Burrillville instead of 6, or is this finding efficiencies in the current buildings that we have, so, just a little more clarity on what the subcommittee, the result that we're looking for, or even topics of discussion would be great to just kind of throw on the wall to see. So I think we could probably still create this right now and today, and then kind of hash that out before we start building the team,
Wait, so keep
assembling
a
it.
subcommittee of just school committee members for now?
No, of everyone, just, have a, the rest of them, a school improvement team, like, we know what that school committee meeting, that subcommittee's about, but what's this one about? The creation of space needs, like, that's so vast and huge, like, what are, it's almost like too big, to even get your head around, so.
My concern is the first I've heard of it was from the town council, and is that because of money, of cost, or what was the reason why the town council started that? Started talking about, like, consolidating buildings.
There's a lot of needs. There's been no decisions, it's just been casual talk.
Okay, and what was it?
Lower enrollment, consolidating the elementary schools or possibly building a brand new one.
So if I can, I'm sorry, Terry, if I can just give you a little perspective on, in a previous district, I was part of a space needs study that was conducted, and many districts have an outside company come in. You certainly can do it yourself, but the most likely, the most often, it's an outside company that comes in and does an independent study of all your school buildings. They'll do a quick assessment of the school, they'll look at your, your birth rates and your enrollment rates and your programs and those kind of things. And then after they complete the study, it may take a few months, they look at real estate sales, they look at the different trends and different population trends, and then they present 4 or 5 different options and what the cost of those options are and what, the long-term and short-term impact would be for those options. So all of the options that Mr. Hool mentioned may be, a result of that. But if you consolidate some schools, what if you build a new school? It just would give different options, and then once that presentation is done, you'll at least have some concrete steps you could take. The issue with that is it's pricey to do that. It's probably like I would guess somewhere around $25,000 to have the outside company come in and do that. I don't know if that's cost prohibitive or not, but that's typically how a space needs study is done. Certainly could start doing it as a committee of school committee and community members and town council members and start from there, but that's typically what happens is they'll give several options and then what the projected costs of those options are, and then if you ask for recommendations, they can give you a recommendation. They don't necessarily have to. They can just present you with the different options and those kind of things. So there are several companies that do that. If you'd like, I could reach out to those companies and get an estimate of what that cost might be. It also gives you an objective opinion, so it's not, it's not anyone that has any skin in the game, so to speak. It's just really an outside company giving you different options.
I appreciate that. That's a
Yeah,
good
I think
jumping off point, sure.
that's a good starting point.
I was involved in the building of the middle school, and we did go through that way back when in 89? 90, 89.
I'll reach out to a couple of companies this week and next week and see if I can get a rough cost estimate, what that would look like.
All right.
But it wouldn't
I think
hurt
that's
to
a start.
open the subcommittee, right? It's
Sure
there,
enough.
it's
Yeah.
open if we need it, and then if we choose to move forward with developing it, we certainly
That
could.
subcommittee would work with, if you go with an outside company, that subcommittee would work directly with whoever's assigned from the outside company as the liaison, because they would need access to the building and they would need information and things like that. And then they would do a public presentation, probably a joint presentation to the town council and school committee. That's typically how a space needs study is
Really,
done.
the town needs to obviously have their say in this process as well,
Mhm.
so that's
Yeah.
an important piece.
It's a good place to start.
So tonight, are we gonna vote to form the subcommittee?
I just wanted to say one more thing. As far as the building of that middle school, that was in 1989, and it cost us $14 million. I would assume that's gonna cost a whole lot more if we build another school or even renovate it.
Yeah, I think that number's maybe 60, is that a fair guess?
Like what?
At
For
a new
a
60 million?
A new building, a new elementary school building is probably in the neighborhood of 60 million.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
For
there's,
one building, to build one building.
For one
And
building.
not
Yes.
renovate, okay.
Of which you may get some reimbursements and,
yeah, reimbursement rate, after all bonuses would probably be, rough estimate, somewhere around 60% if we hit all of our bonuses.
so I think the number would be, a no-maintenance school for 25 years versus nickel and diming. I think that's but then, of course, it's a taxpayer decision, so that's a whole different discussion,
Can I add one more thing? The middle school never has, the plans for the middle school included a pool, which is will be behind the gym. So I just wouldn't that be nice to put a pool at the middle school when we do all this stuff?
I'm not Mrs.
You're not gonna say anything.
I'll make a motion to create the subcommittee for the creation of space needs.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion's been made by Dave, second by Sylvia. All in favor?
Aye.
I think I'll ask any members who would like to be on the committee to let me know, and I'll let Dr. Salito know, and we'll
Yeah,
start the
I would
process.
recommend having 2 members and an alternate. You don't want 3 because it's too close to a quorum.
Okay, yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Discussion and vote revisions to the Council 94 AFS CME 2025-28 contract.
I'll make a motion to approve the revisions.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Donnison, second by Dave. All in favor? Okay. Moving on. Agenda item number 15, committee comments on agenda items. Anybody like to add anything? No? Moving on. Agenda item number 16, pending issues, artificial turf update. Dr. Salito?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick update. Last I've heard, we were still waiting, or the town is still waiting to hear back from the court after the recent court appearance. The hearings were concluded in early January, January 6th, if I'm not mistaken, and we're still waiting to hear back from the judge about lifting the temporary restraining order that's currently in place. So if we hear anything back, I will certainly apprise the committee as appropriate.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, and I would just like to remind everybody that the school committee, the 101 seminar is this Saturday for those who signed up for it. And as always, if you can't attend these meetings and you told Judy you signed up for it, please make sure you let Judy know that you can't make it, because our district will be charged if you signed up, so. Okay, agenda item number 17, last but not.
Can I ask one thing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it possible for us to move these tables so that we can see each other? I mean, where I'm sitting here, I gotta lean over this table, but now I can see a lot of people, and you can hear me now, you know?
Well,
So I know that
I'm
you-
gonna tell you this, Sylvia, I have a hard time hearing, so when I, like
I was the
I
same
couldn't
way,
tell,
too.
I couldn't differentiate who was,
As long as we could fit it in the camera angle.
Anecdotally, it used to sort of be in the boomerang, sort of horseshoe shape. I think your overhead lighting was a consideration.
Oh, it doesn't have to be, it could be this way.
No,
So at least we could
understand.
see.
I think their row of lights was a consideration.
As long as we could fit it on camera and
It
the
does
lighting's
not
proper,
affect
then,
me
yeah.
or the webcast.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I think we should do a heart shape.
He said it won't impact the webcast, so it'll be good.
So cute.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, we can move things
Like
up
a
for the
little
next meeting.
horseshoe type?
Angle. You don't need much.
It doesn't have to be really horseshoe, but I notice when I watch other people's, districts, school committee meetings, they are actually smaller rooms, and they actually can see each other, and they can discuss stuff better.
Anybody have any objections to that?
I don't.
I don't.
So moved.
All right,
That's an easy fix.
Yeah,
that's an easy fix. Yeah, we can handle that
It
one.
would all be that easy.
Okay, is that it?
yep. I'll make a
Agenda
motion to
item
adjourn.
17?
Did we do that already?
Motion to adjourn?
Yep, second.
Third, fourth, you did it?
All in favor?
Did you hear that?
Aye.
Okay.
Did you get a vote for that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Terry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who's going to the meeting?